You are listening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 551. I'm your host, Tricky Mick, alongside with me, the man, the myth, and the legend. It's Alex.
I like to live dangerously.
He brings the awesome. It's I yield to no one.
I got 2 shiny new platinums.
I guess I'm the only one that didn't get a platinum this week. All right, so first I want to apologize to everybody for my audio. I am recording from work, so I don't have my usual equipment with me. So if I sound a little off, please bear with me. All right, so what are we doing, gentlemen? We are... Well, first thing we're going to do is Alex. This is going to pertain to you more than it is for Yield because Yield wasn't there. We did our Patreon predictions for the Game Awards.
We did.
And I don't remember if it was you or Matt that said that they would like to see somebody keep count of who actually got the most right.
I believe it was me, but I guarantee also that I'm in last place because I didn't get a lot of predictions right.
All right, so we're going to go over the Game Awards later as to the winners and the announcements made, but just really quickly recapping, Rick did a total for us. In third place was Matt getting 5 correct. Second place was you getting 7 correct, and I ultimately won getting 8 correct.
Oh, so it was 1. Slim margin.
Yeah. Hey, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. Unfortunately, my game did not win Game of the Year. You both got that correct. I'm trying to look through this right now because it's a picture on my phone.
Yeah, to be fair, your Game of the Year ended up coming away with the most awards on the night, so I think that Sony Santa Monica can sleep easy.
Yes. I'm just trying to see which ones you got right. You got the most anticipated by saying Zelda. Me and you got the debut indie for Stray. Nobody got right the best adaptation. Nobody got right the multiplayer. Matt got multiverses right for the best fighting game. All 3 of us got it right for the best RPG game, which we all say was Elden Ring. All right, you know what? I'm not even going to do all of this. Ultimately, it was a good show. Hope you guys go check it out on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/provengamer. For $1, you can listen to all the Patreon episodes, including we have one coming up for what I thought was a Game of the Year, God of War Ragnarok. We did an entire spoiler cast with a member of the community, so go please check that out. That will be out very shortly. All right, so let's do the show proper and get back into what we normally do. Let's do our updated trophy counts. I am level 685, total trophies of 16,924 with 375 platinums. Alex?
Well, as you said earlier, I did get a new platinum trophy, which is reflected in my numbers here. I am level 466, total trophy count of 8,200. Very, very nice round century-loving number there. The platinum count of 133 and 132 games, and Tricky, I gotta say, I'm surprised I got this platinum before you did.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't too surprised because I haven't been playing that much. After I beat the main game, I kind of drifted back to the division because they have some timed events there, so I was focusing on that. I am going through. I am playing it at work. I'm now knocking out some of the major bosses and getting some of the collectibles, so I won't be too far behind. But yes, you did get it first. Yield, how about you, sir? What are your trophies looking like?
I am currently 484 with a trophy count of 8962 and a platinum count of 161.
And you said you got 2 platinums. What were they this week?
I got 2. I got Immortals Phoenix Rising and Arise, A Simple Story.
Yeah, I got to go back and get that Immortals Platinum. I don't know what stopped me. I was playing for hardcore for a while, and I think I went to the DLC and got stuck on one of the DLCs and couldn't get back to the main story. I think that's why I stopped.
I think I'm going to hold off on the DLC until the first of the year to help earn some points in the competition that Gareth's doing.
That's a good point. We're going to have Gareth on before the end of the month to go over the rules. I know he posted some of the rules in the groups, or am I just saying that he announced it, or did he actually announce the rules?
He kind of went over kind of like the point system. That's the last that I saw.
All right, 10-4. And Sid is level 814, total trophies of 21,587, and 678 platinums. Sid, just gotta let you know you got less than a month and then the tackles are all for me. I'm coming. And I'm coming hard. All right, so let's get into what we're playing. I'll start us off by saying I've just been playing the Division 2 and God of War Ragnarok. I did dabble in a couple other games. I did play the Forspoken demo that was released after the Game Awards. I gotta say I'm not too impressed with Forsaken too much. Have either of you guys tried that demo out?
No, I haven't tried the demo out. I know from what I saw from trailers, I was not impressed at all. So I am not trying out the demo.
Isn't this one of the big like PS5 console exclusives that everyone was talking about? Hey, be on lookout for Forspoken, which comes out next spring. Is that the game? It's from Square Enix, isn't it?
Yes, this is the one that was also delayed, I think, 2 or 3 times already that a lot of people were upset about.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I bought a Square game, so generally, as much as I hate to say it, anytime I hear their name, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to pay attention now, so I haven't looked at the game at all.
I mean, it's not a bad little concept. I just I think it relies too much heavily on spells, and one of the things that I'm getting annoyed with it is the fact that, when you attack like with certain weapons, it tells you like they're vulnerable to this or the resistance to this. I was in one fight where I constantly had to keep switching back and forth, and I don't know. Like I know that's like not a big thing to complain about, but that just annoys me. Like if I'm focused on this enemy and then all of a sudden an enemy behind me attacks me, I have to quickly switch my weapons to adapt, and it's not a quick switch either. So it was just annoying me.
Well, that's the issue that I had with some of the Berserker battles in God of War Ragnarok is that they put multiple Berserkers in there, and yeah, you can focus on one well enough, but when you throw 2 or 3 at a time, and you got one attacking you from behind, that gets pretty damn annoying.
Yes. So, and I mean, at least in God of War, it's like a quick switch. You just hit the directional button. But this one, you have to hold down L1 and R1 at the same time. You have to use the right stick to find the right one to switch to. It was just I think if they improved the way you could switch your abilities, I think that would help it. But overall, I just wasn't too impressed with it.
Well, I mean, Tricky, the one thing I will say is you mentioned, at least in God of War, it's a quick switch, but at least in God of War, when you're fighting the Berserkers, they can kill you in 3 or 4 hits. So,
yes,
it's incredibly important that, I don't know, that was one thing that really annoyed me later in the game is like 3 Berserkers at once. Are you serious? Like, who at Santa Monica made this choice? But,
yeah, you actually called me because of that fight.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm about ready to throw this. I'm about ready to be done because this is stupid hard. Yeah. Some of the fights in that game, the Berserkers pushed me to a level of aggravation that I didn't even reach playing Bloodborne.
So what was harder, the Valkyrie Queen or the 3 Berserkers?
Oh, the Valkyrie Queen.
Oh, you think so?
Gna. I mean, the 3 Berserkers were really difficult, but Gna was just insane. And let me say this now. Once I came up with on the 3 Berserkers, I kicked it down to give me story, the easiest difficulty, and I said, fuck it, because I'm not going to sit here for 60 hours. When I'm already devoting 60 hours to this game, I'm not going to sit here and fight these bosses for 20 hours just to prove I can beat them. So the Valkyrie Queen, Gna, took me over an hour, between an hour and 2 hours to beat on the easiest difficulty with the mid checkpoint in the boss fight. So she's really freaking hard.
Wait, you did the checkpoint for it?
I absolutely did.
Oh, that's cheating.
It's not. It says beat the Valkyrie Queen. I beat the Valkyrie Queen, and under accessibility, they give you the option to enable the mid-boss checkpoints. It's coded into the game.
It is coded into the game, but that's not an option that you're supposed to be using.
Okay, this thing, I believe in accessibility. Anybody can use those. Tricky. Don't be judging people. This judgment's coming from Tricky. When I played the entire game on Give Me Balance, which is normal, and Tricky played the game on the easiest, Give Me Mercy, or not the easiest, but the easier setting, Give Me Mercy. And now I'm getting flack from Tricky. Tricky, if you want to play the game on an easier setting, I'm fine with that. That's your choice. So don't be giving me crap when I'm like, yeah, I'm kicking this down. I don't care.
Yield, what's your opinion on that? Because let me explain what the mid-boss checkpoint is. Basically, you fight any boss, and then once you get down them to half health, every time you restart that fight, if you die, they only start with half health.
I mean, if it's coded into the game, it's not cheating.
All right. You know what? All right, so that's all I've been playing. Alex, what have you been playing, sir?
Well, I beat God of War. I got the Platinum Trophy in God of War. And overall, really enjoyed the game, as we've talked about on the Patreon episode that we recorded this past week. I'm not sure when that'll be out. My biggest disappointment really was the fact that Ragnarok was kind of a fizzle to me. It wasn't as big and stupendous as I expected, so maybe my expectations were set too high, but also it seemed like everybody that I've talked with kind of has agreed with me. So, still a fantastic game, even that's not going to hold it back. But that's my one major complaint. Going back and cleaning up, the collectibles after the game, yeah, it takes a while, but it's not as bad as I thought. So, you get free roam afterwards, and it's, cleaning up the game isn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. So, overall, I enjoyed my experience with God of War. Gareth had everyone post their top 10 games that they played this year, regardless of what year they released. I think God of War was in my top 5, but it was number 5 behind Forbidden West, Ghost of Tsushima, Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, and then It Takes Two, which came out last year, which I played this year. But yeah, a really good game. After I played it, I don't think that I would say that it's game of the year. I still think Horizon's a better overall game, but, things played out the way that they did. Tricky, I did have a question for you as someone who's played through God of War. Which one of the 9 realms would you like to live in? And let's be real, there's only a handful of ones you would actually want to live in, because, some of them are like Muspelheim and Helheim, and it's like, don't want to live in essentially Hades and don't want to live in a volcanic hellhole, so.
That's a good question. I think it would be Midgard.
Even with all the snow and everything? Or are you talking Midgard from last game?
I'm talking Midgard just in general. Snow doesn't scare me. I know it scares a lot of people, but it doesn't scare me. I love the snow. Maybe I'm a little biased because of my job, because when it snows, I make a shitload of money, but snow doesn't bother me. I like, especially from the first game, that building with the realms and all of that stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. I'd like to live there. And Kratos' cottage is just enough for me too. As long as I can hook up my my PlayStation and the little cottage, I'm good.
Yeah, I know, but I get it. But when it's always snow, like you say you can deal with the snow, but you only have to deal with snow for part of the year. When you have to deal with it, Fimbulwinter was 3 years?
Yeah, but Fimbulwinter's over now.
That's a real depressing thing to have happen, I'll tell you that much. I'll have to go outside and it's constantly cold and snowy, and hey, I'm surprised that you picked Midgard. Not necessarily Midgard, but Midgard with Fimbulwinter. I'm surprised you picked that. I would have to go with Svartalfheim, especially in Nidavellir, where the big dwarf city. I love that place. It's so pretty there, and the dwarves are such nice people, such accommodating nice people that I think living in Nidavellir would be really nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but you just feel like a giant the entire time.
Dude, I've been short my entire life. I would love to start feeling like a giant.
All right, Yield, what have you been playing, sir?
I wasn't done.
He's not done.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, you're not with that tone, at least.
Well, no, I'm really not. I thought you were done when you asked me the question, but go ahead.
So, new season started in Rocket League, and I bought into that because it's got a fire and ice theme to it. You got the way they presented it with the trailer. There's dragons, a fire dragon, and an ice dragon out on the field at the Forbidden Temple, one of my favorite places. So, and I looked at the rewards this season, much better than last season. Looks like a really good season of rewards. So, played a little bit of Rocket League this weekend, trying to get some weekly challenges done. And I actually did start a new game. because I know that there's going to be plenty of people pulling their hair out when I say what game I've been playing, but I decided to go ahead and play Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh my God!
I told you I'd like to live dangerously, Tricky. Look, at the beginning of that game...
You're gonna ruin Spider-Man, the first game for you.
Okay, well, I have Miles Morales. I don't have Spider-Man, so I can't play one.
I told you I was gonna buy it for you for Christmas.
Dude, I don't want to go from God of War to another huge game. Part of the reason that I picked Spider-Man Miles Morales is I want a palate cleanser. I want a shorter, easier Platinum Trophy before the end of the year. My goal was to get God of War by the middle of the month, by the middle of December, and then I was going to finish up the year by getting one more Platinum Trophy, which I plan to be Miles Morales because it's a shorter one. I don't want to deal with another massive experience like Spider-Man. I just want a good palate cleanser to transition me into the new year. And Spider-Man Miles Morales is perfect for that. Also, it's Christmas time when the game starts, and it's Christmas time where we live. It's like synergy. It's perfect. It works together. So, I mean, and they give you a little option like previously on Spider-Man, so they kind of let you in on what's going on with the story as far as Spider-Man goes. So, I don't necessarily think that I needed to play Spider-Man before I play this.
That's coming from somebody that didn't play Spider-Man. And you have to play it twice to get the platinum, right?
That's fine. It's like, what, a 3-hour story?
I think it's like a 6-hour story, actually.
Well, that's fine. I just played a 60-hour God of War game. So, what? Doing 12 hours of story plus a little catch-up? Like, it's ranked as a 10 to 20-hour platinum. And that's perfect for the end of the year. Yeah, I got my Rocket League, get some rewards in that this season, play a little Spider-Man, get that platinum by the end of the year. I'm setting myself very nicely. I set myself up very nicely, Tricky. I don't know why you're giving me such headwinds here. Like,
because I'm the one that played the game, and I'm telling you that this is the way you should do it, and you're just outright defying. And I get your reason. I'm not hating on your reason, but I'm just telling you, you're going to ruin the original Spider-Man for yourself.
Well, that you assume that I'm going to go back and play the original Spider-Man.
I know you will.
I mean, I might.
After you play Miles Morales, you're going to say, I want to go back and play Spider-Man.
No, I mean, Miles Morales, like, it's kind of like that first time you play Arkham Asylum. It's a little bit different because you have a character that's a little bit more agile and, is, a little bit like a bolt of electricity that just jumps around, like, here, there, and yonder. But it's like that feeling that I got with Arkham Asylum is, like, the combat is so much fun and you feel like a fucking superhero, and, the combo system is so much fun to play with. Webbing around and slinging around New York City. Like, I don't live in New York City, so I don't know how detailed it is compared to the real city. But, like, they did a really good job of making New York City feel alive and real. It feels, like, accurate to size, like the scale of it, because it's massive. So, like, web slinging around, even getting around like a Spider-Man, it's going to take you a while to get around. So they did a great job with the agility of Spider-Man, making web slinging fun, making it make sense. You always have to connect your web to a building or a tree or something. You can't be just webbing to nothing. So it all feels fantastic. It makes you feel like a superhero. Same with the combat. The combat makes you feel like a superhero. My only thing is, like, there's so many ways to take down enemies and disarm them that I'm afraid that I'm going to forget things mid-fight. But it's been fun. You start off with Rhino. Rhino looks great. My only complaint, though, is that Rhino, the fight with Rhino is kind of like a tutorial boss fight. It's like, okay, you dodge something and then you get, like, the super powerful move. You just get to spam on him, and it feels like a tutorial boss fight. It feels like a nothing boss fight. So I was a little disappointed with that because Rhino does look extremely cool, and I was glad to see him involved in this game. It's just that first fight was a little disappointing, but overall, the combat's a lot of fun. Slinging around is a lot of fun, and I don't know, this just seems like the perfect game for me to play. I want something shorter. I want something that I can just kind of lay back and enjoy instead of, having to fight super hard bosses. So it just seems like Miles Morales makes the most sense to me.
All right. All right, Ayo, let's go to you now. What have you been playing, sir?
I've been playing some Farm Simulator 19, some World of Warship Legends, some Helldivers, some Deep Rock Galactic, Immortals Phoenix Rising, and Arise, A Simple Story, and Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. I think that's everything.
All right.
Oh, real quick before I move on, I did forget to mention, I love running up buildings. Like, that never is going to get old, just running up buildings of Spider-Man, because I didn't know I could do that, because in so many games I'm used to, like, even in the PS1 Spider-Man, which is probably one of the last Spider-Man games I played, like, you run into a building and it kind of stops you dead, whereas in this one, you just attach to the building naturally, and you can just crawl up it or crawl around the side, or you can run up it. And running up it just never gets old because you can just launch yourself off the side and then get back into another swinging fit on the other side. So yeah, the traversal in that game is fantastic.
All right, let's get into our topics. Our first topic is, we normally do this in the first show of the month, this is the first show of the month. We skipped last week due to everybody's schedules not lining up, and basically no news. So let's get into our PlayStation Plus monthly games. This month we're going to be getting Mass Effect Legendary Edition, DKO Divine Knockout, and Biomutant. You're going to get the PS4 and PS5 versions of Biomutant and DKO, while you're only going to get the PS4 version of Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I believe, Alex, you saw this and you were very happy to be getting Mass Effect. Am I correct?
Well, I mean, I've played Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. They're both very good games, so I'm happy that anyone who's not been able to play them yet, or anyone who wants to re-experience them, will have that opportunity for free because they're both fantastic games. So, I mean, yeah, I'd like to go back and play them, but also I have incomplete trophy sets from the PS3 version, so I guess in a way, if I was going to go back and play them, I would play those versions instead of the newer versions on PS4. But I mean, it's still very exciting. Like, this is still a great thing to put on PlayStation Plus for the free games. And again, Sony's doing a great job of, my concern going into the revamped PlayStation Plus is that the free games would become crap every month because they're trying to make the extra and premium tiers look a lot better. But this December is a great month of games. Biomutant's another game you mentioned there that I haven't played that I would like to try, and I know Yield said he was thinking about buying it, but now he doesn't have to. So it seems like this month, Yield's fine, when it's not a banger of a month, but it seems like this month actually really impressed Yield as well.
All right, Yield, tell us about Biomutant, why you're pumped up about it.
Well, it's just, I've seen the trailers on and off when it first came out, and I was like, this game kind of sounds interesting. It seems different. And there have been a few times when it's been on sale that I almost pulled the trigger, and I was kind of like, not yet. So I'm glad I'm getting this. Now I don't have to, buy it, and I've been wanting to try Mass Effect. So, yeah, this is a good month.
All right, it is a good month. And also, reminder, if you haven't enrolled in PlayStation Stars yet, they are doing a loyalty program. All you guys simply do is redeem one of the games and play one of the titles, and you're going to get an extra 50 points. This is different from the digital trophies you get. This is the 50 points that eventually you earn by purchasing games and stuff like that, and then eventually you can redeem free games. So this is free 50 points. All you got to do is download one of the games and then play it. And make sure you activate the challenge in the PlayStation app, and you free 50 points. All right, moving on. Something that I texted the boys about during the Game Awards. Horizon Forbidden West is getting some DLC coming out in April. It's called Burning Shores, and it will be PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Yeah, that is important. PlayStation Plus or PlayStation 4 owners will not be able to access it.
Yes. So, arriving on April 19, 2023, the Burning Shores DLC will take Aloy to Los Angeles, complete with the Hollywood sign on display and immediately destroyed by a giant robot. According to the post on the PlayStation blog, Guerrilla explained that, quote, to achieve this grand vision technology and creatively, we've made the difficult decision to focus all our efforts on making an incredible experience exclusively for the PlayStation 5 console, end quote. According to the post, the DLC has Aloy in pursuit of a sinister threat that the LA region has been volcanic archipelago. She will be traveling to a dangerous new region south of the Tanakh clan lands, featuring a compelling storyline following where Horizon Forbidden West ended, new characters, adventures, and more. So I know all three of us are excited about this. Unfortunately, there's no price mentioned for this, but you got to figure it's probably going to be like $20, $30. Yield, we'll start with you. Is this something you're going to be looking forward to?
Well, I mean, I'll pick it up day one like I did Frozen Wilds. I was disappointed with the trailer other than it really didn't do anything. I mean, she's just flying around, and then I can't remember what those big robots were called, but, you see one of those come to life and knock down the Hollywood sign. And it's like, okay, well, that's cool, but that's it? That's all you're kind of going to tease? But I'm still buying it because it's more Horizon.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, the trailer didn't give us a lot to go off of. I mean, obviously, the flying mount that we got, is it the Skydrifter? I think it might be the Skydrifter.
What are them things called? Sunwings.
Oh, the Sunwing. Yes, you're right, Yield. So the Sunwing, like, it confirms that it's kind of where you left off with the main game, is that after you beat the game, you get a Sunwing to call at any time you want, and they'll fly you anywhere. So it looks like you get to keep that. You get your Sunwing, and then the enemy that popped through the Hollywood sign at the end almost looked like a new machine. It almost looked like spider-like, some kind of giant spider. Definitely.
I thought it was like those machines that they tried to bring back to life in the first game.
Are those like the Sentinels?
Yeah, and in the second game, you see them here and there, all the tentacles, and they're just dead. So that's what I thought it was. It was one of those machines back to life. Now, I could totally be wrong.
To me, it looked like a new machine, but also since it's bursting through the land, you don't get the greatest view of it. But I thought that, because they did introduce new machines like the Frost Claws in Frozen Wild, so I would assume that they're going to at least introduce one new machine into the fray when they release the Burning Shores. But yeah, I'm going to buy it as soon as it comes out. Not only because they're going to try to take away my 100%, but also because I would like to play more Horizon, and a year after the initial release seems like a good time to kind of give fans a reason to go back in.
All right, sorry, I'm just trying to find the Twitter post for the next one. All right, so our next article is going to be about Bend Studio is distancing itself from former director after the Twitter rant about critical reception. Days Gone developer says it doesn't share John Garvin's view on why it was poorly received. A statement from Bend Studio on Twitter addressed the recent outburst from Days Gone director, who blamed woke reviewers for its critical reception. So I'm trying. Give me a second, Vamp. Just tell us about Days Gone before, so I can give time to find this tweet.
I mean, a lot of people have come to Days Gone defense, and it seems like everyone who's played that game really enjoyed it. They thought it was a great game. I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. Yield obviously played that game. He got the Platinum Trophy, and for everything that I've heard from what Yield has said, it's a really good game. It just seems like the director of this game, he's been very vocal in the aftermath, and I get it. You put your heart and soul into a game, and you take a lot of pride in it, and then, think it doesn't sell as well as you think it should, and you're going to be mad. I get it. You're going to be frustrated. But this guy just seems
Sony doesn't greenlight your sequel either.
He just seems to be so angry about it, though. He seems like he's got such an axe to grind at this point. Like, anytime it comes up, I'm just kind of like rolling my eyes at this guy. I don't know, Yield. What I mean, you're going to hear the quotes here in a little bit, but, what do you think was the reason this game didn't sell necessarily as well as it could have?
I think people were kind of zombied out. It did get a slow start, and kind of rightfully so. But I was sold from the beginning, so there's that. I also think Sony kind of overhyped it, because some of the things like we saw in the trailer didn't entirely play out, or I feel happen in the game. So while that was kind of disappointing, the story itself was really good. And like I said, the game takes a little bit to get going. And I think some people nowadays, if it don't grab you right away, they're like, okay, I'm moving on to the next game. Where this one, it took a little bit. That's just my opinion. I liked it. I think most people who have played it liked it. There have been a few in the community that were like, it just didn't do it for me. And I'm okay with that. Some games just don't click with people.
But I mean, like, when Days Gone didn't review poorly, did it? Like, I thought it would. I thought it did pretty well.
I didn't think it reviewed poorly.
Oh, it's got for the PS4, it's got a 71 on Metacritic. So, I mean, that's not great, but that's not bad either. I don't know, Tricky, did you?
I'm trying to find his tweet, but it's blocked because I'm not one of his followers.
Well, I'm sure that somebody has posted somewhere else online.
That I'm trying to find a picture of it to do it, but It doesn't seem. Okay. This is just a summary of what he tweeted. It's not the actual tweet. It says, James Garvin tweeted his theory in response to a fan of asking why he thought the post-apocalyptic PS4 gamer didn't get more praise when it was first released in 2019. He said 3 reasons. 1, it had tech issues like bugs, streaming, and frame rate. 2, it had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. And 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass. Now, Yield, me and you both have the platinum.
Yeah, we did.
I don't really remember any bugs, streaming, or frame rates. Did you have any issues with any of that stuff?
Maybe a little bit of frame rate, but not enough to ruin the game. And that may have been early in the game before they kind of started fixing things.
Right, because you didn't play it on launch. You played it a little after, right?
Trying to remember. I mean, I bought it at launch. I might have waited a couple of weeks before I finally got into it, because I might have been finishing up something else.
Second reason, it had reviewers who couldn't be bothered to actually play the game. I'm not here to defend him, but we have heard this be an issue with reviewers where they only play a certain part of the game and then they post a review and don't get to certain parts of the game that could have potentially made the score higher or lower. I mean, most publishers and developers say that you got to play the game fully to give it, an accurate score. And if you don't play the full game, you're going to give it a low score. I don't know. I'm not subscribing to that, but I mean, that is a valid thing to say, though.
It is, because Days Gone really probably doesn't really get good until after the last half of the game.
Well, right. Then you're paying for half a good game, or at least you should be able to get to the better parts sooner than halfway through the game,
Well, I mean, again, I'm not here to be the apologist or the excuse, but there are some games, none that I can think of off the top of my head, that you can honestly say it starts out slow, but as you get to the end of the game, it makes the first half make sense more, and understand why you had to go through that process. And if you don't get to that point, then it seems like a boring-ass game. But once you get to that point, you're like, oh, okay, that's why I had to do that. That's why this makes sense. All right, and the third thing, he says, and 3, it had woke reviewers who couldn't handle a gruff white biker looking at his date's ass.
Well, I didn't read enough reviews, so I don't really know if that's entirely true or not. I mean, I do know that the looking at his girlfriend's ass, I mean, I don't know if that was, I mean, there is I shouldn't say a lot of that. I don't know exactly how to word it.
Yeah, but who's really taken off a lot of points for that?
But I think the point he's... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that just sounds more of someone who's upset with cancel culture.
That's exactly where I was going to go. It sounds to me like he's trying to play the racism card with this, saying that because we didn't make a female protagonist or an African-American protagonist, that's why the game got bad reviews, because we stepped into the stereotypical white biker instead of, making a more, I hate to use his word, but more woke protagonist.
A diversified.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's not saying the protagonist is woke. He's saying the reviewers were woke, because usually woke is used with as a pejorative these days.
Yeah, but I think what he's trying to say is that because the woke reviewers didn't see a woke protagonist, that's why they brought it down more.
Yeah, but it seems like at least with that one, he's grasping at straws as to why he thinks. I
agree with that. He's grasping at straws on the last one. The first two,
All right, so let's get. I'm sorry. Somebody was saying.
I was going to say, yes, people should play your game all the way through, but how does he know that people aren't playing that game all the way through? Are people saying in their reviews, "Hey, I got to this point, but stop playing after this point"? I just don't know. Is that a valid gripe? Yes.
Well, you could,
but
you could look at the trophy data and see how far somebody got into a game. They've been doing that for a while now to see how how far people get into games.
But does he? I guess he has access to that. I don't know, but with Bend Studio trying to again, the guy is the former director, and the guy is no longer part of Bend, and Bend is now distancing themselves from him. I don't know if that was a decision Sony made that said, okay, like you guys can't, like stay away from this guy, or if Bend as an internal studio said, we got to stay away from this guy. But the company he used to work for is distancing himself from them. Does that not make him look worse?
It does make it worse. But let's get into Ben's statement on Twitter. It says, we are aware of the comments made by a previous creative director on Days Gone regarding his personal view on the critical reception of our intellectual property. Bend Studio does not share his sentiment, nor does it reflect the views of our team. Our studio is immensely proud of the work we accomplished on Days Gone and are thankful to every developer who poured their heart and soul into it. We are incredibly humbled by the support of our Days Gone community and will continue to share your enthusiasm for our world and characters as we look towards the future.
Yeah, almost like this guy is, soup that just came out of the microwave and is too hot to hold the bowl. Like, Bend and Sony don't want any part of this guy. They don't want anything to do with him. They don't want to be mixed in with him. So, I don't know, man. I would hope that Sony would stand up for a game they believe in. And internally, maybe they don't outright bash reviewers and say, hey, you guys need to make sure you're playing this all the way through. Maybe handle that on a lower scale. But clearly, they want nothing to do with this guy. So, every time he comes out, he just seems angry about this. Like, he can't get over it. And I kind of just write him off before I even hear what he has to say. And now that I've heard what he has to say, I kind of just write it off again because it's like, all right, guy, whatever. Just move on.
Well,
Was he
the article?
Was he terminated or did he leave Bend on his own?
Well, okay. Well, the article goes on to say this isn't the first time Garvin has expressed some pretty controversial opinions. In fact, by his own admission, he was fired from Bend for being a quote disruptive personality. End quote. Last year, he told gamers that if you love a game, you should buy it at full fucking price. He also said that people shouldn't be upset if they don't get a sequel to the game if they aren't willing to pay full price for it. That last part, I agree with him. You guys know I'm on the record with saying that if you really want to support a game, you should buy it at full price, not wait for it to hit the bargain bin. I'm not taking shots at anybody. That's just my personal opinion. But he did admit that he got fired for being a disruptive personality. And like I said, I agree with if you want a game and the sequel, you have to buy it at full price.
I mean, it's a fine balance to walk because, yes, gaming is a very expensive hobby, and someone like Garvin doesn't understand or isn't in control of anyone's pocketbook. So I think that if you can, that you should support games at full price. But if you enjoy gaming and you are trying to play as many games as possible and you can get a break here and there, I think that's fine too. And I just understand that if Sony doesn't greenlight a sequel, there is part of a truth to that where, hey, if Sony doesn't see the financial viability of a game, they're not going to greenlight a sequel. So there is something to that. But also this guy, it just, again, comes across as angry and this guy is not in control of my pocketbook or your wallet or your bank account. And so for him to get up here and say that kind of stuff, like, there is a truth to it, but it's like, you don't make my money for me, so why the hell do you decide, I don't know. There's something that I like I said, fine line to walk, but I do take umbrage with people being like, shaming people for not always buying every game at full price. This game was free on PlayStation Plus, and I hate to tell you this, guy, but I didn't even play it for free, so, maybe tone down your
You should
anger
play it. You should play it. It is a good game.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good game. I just have never had any desire to play it because, like Yield said, Yield made the point that maybe people are zombied out. I'm kind of I don't have any desire to play that game anymore or that style of game until maybe the next Last of Us comes out. But I've just kind of gotten my fill of it.
Understood. Yield, any last statements before we move on?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, unfortunately, we have another story about the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, but this one comes in a way of Microsoft firing back. This is coming from IGN and written by Adam Bankhurst. Microsoft has made a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles.
You mean Sony consoles?
Microsoft? No, Nintendo. Microsoft has entered into a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles following its acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Xbox boss Phil Spencer shared the news on Twitter alongside confirming that Microsoft will offer Call of Duty titles on Steam after the deal is closed as well. The last mainline Call of Duty title on a Nintendo console was 2013's Call of Duty Ghosts, which made its way to the Wii U. Since then, Nintendo owners have been left behind when it comes to one of the best-selling game franchises of all time. In October 2022, Spencer said he'd love to see Call of Duty on Switch, and that Xbox's intention is to, quote, treat Call of Duty like Minecraft, end quote, though it looks as though he now has that plan in motion. This news comes at a time when many eyes are on the Microsoft and Activision Blizzard deal, when many are focused on what this merger means for the future of Call of Duty on PlayStation. Spencer has stated Call of Duty will ship on PlayStation, quote, as long as there's a PlayStation to ship to, end quote. And reports have come out saying that Microsoft offered the same 10-year contract to Sony to keep the franchise on the platform. Now, there we go. That's the article. So obviously, this merger has hit a couple hiccups, mostly by Sony. I mean, let's not deny it. But with Microsoft firing back and saying, well, we're going to keep it multi-console because we're going to have a 10-year contract to Nintendo, who hasn't had it in almost 9-10 years, and we're going to keep it on Steam, and we offer this to PlayStation. Yield, I'm going to go to you first. Do you think this is a PR move to let the deal go through and that Microsoft just has to bite the bullet for the next 10 years? Or do you think Phil Spencer is legit trying to, be open with all consoles?
Perhaps a little of both. I mean, we don't know what was being talked on behind closed doors beforehand. I mean, so they may have had an idea of to bring it to Nintendo, because we've kind of said all along that kind of tends to be Microsoft's plan, is to put their platform out for everybody to play their games, So that could be some of it. Now to come out and make it sound like a 10-year commitment and all this stuff, that could be more of a PR move to help the deal go through. Look, we're not going to make it console exclusive, which, like I said, I don't know what. I mean, maybe I'm just disconnected, but I don't know what part of the fan base is going, oh my God, we're going to die. We, as in Sony. I mean, I know Sony's head is screaming that, but I mean, as in the fan base, I don't know who's screaming, oh my God, we'll die if we lose Call of Duty. So I think it's a little both.
All right. Alex, your opinions?
This is definitely not what I thought you were going to talk about, because there has been news come out recently that Phil Spencer, I think, has said that Sony wants to grow by making Microsoft smaller. He also hinting that, basically saying that Sony doesn't want Microsoft to grow. They want to hold Microsoft down so that Sony can get bigger. And also the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is looking into a lawsuit over this potential buyout between Activision and Microsoft, or Microsoft buying Activision. So I actually thought you were going to go with one of those stories instead of this, because it looks like there actually might be legal trouble over this this buyout. And then again, with the controversial statements from Microsoft saying, "Hey, Sony's looking out." They're basically like trying to hold us down.
Well, to be honest, I was going to put the FTC story in here, but I think we covered enough times where, the merger's being blocked by something or another. I didn't want to do another story like that, especially since, most of the times we talk about Sony and blocking it, and I didn't want to keep doing on that. I just thought this was, to me, I think this is a smart move by Microsoft, saying you don't have to worry about us taking it off our console or taking it off your consoles, because here we're committing to the next 10 years of doing it on both Steam and Nintendo. PlayStation, you have the same offer, but you decided to turn it down. I thought that was more intriguing story than just another rampant, the merger's being contested, which we already know was happening.
But the FTC, if they did file a lawsuit, would be the first lawsuit against this entire thing, right? I mean, yes, other countries are looking into it, and some people have, some commissions have, levied a skeptical eye over it, but this would be the first lawsuit over it.
I don't think this is the first lawsuit. I could be wrong. I mean, we might be, just being technical with the terms, but I don't think this is the first like official lawsuit to stop this merger. Okay, there's a link in this article. I'm going to click it.
Well, let me ask you, Tricky, while you're looking, do you think that Sony wants to see Microsoft, their growth stop, or they prevent any growth in order to make things easier for Sony?
See, that's a tough question to answer because if I'm in the pizza business, obviously I don't want to see my competition grow, and I do want to grow myself. So, but the flip side of that coin is, and I think, as wrestling fans, all three of us, we can all agree that like competition makes your product better. So I think Sony wants the competition, but ultimately, like any other company, they want to stay on top. And in order to stay on top, you have to keep the competition down. So it's a really tricky question to answer because I see it both ways.
Yeah, but I mean, you can grow your own business and be the king of the castle, so to speak, without being anti-competitive. And we need to ask ourselves, is Sony hinging on anti-competitive? They're talking about, we can't compete with a game like Call of Duty if it goes exclusive. But is what Sony doing? Are they doing anything anti-competitive here when it comes to Microsoft?
I mean, if you talk to the right people, you could say that Sony keeping their games exclusive.
No, but every console has their own exclusive games. Then Microsoft and Nintendo are also not competitive. But I mean, like trying to throw so much of a monkey wrench into this entire thing, are they being anti-competitive? Are they making this a mountain out of a molehill, or like a molehill into a mountain? Like, I don't know.
Why don't you answer that for a second? Why I try to find this FTC story.
Okay, what am I supposed to answer?
Do you think Sony's they're trying to hold back Microsoft? They want to basically keep Microsoft from growing, so to make it easier for them to grow. And also, do you think they're doing anything anti-competitive with know?
Okay, I don't think they're really doing anything anti-competitive, but I do think that their actions and the crying, at least I look at it as crying, that the Sony heads are doing publicly makes it seem like they're afraid of Microsoft. Like Sony's been the front runner for, a good console and a half, you would say. You could almost argue two. And now it almost seems like Microsoft's getting momentum, whether it would be, like we said, they seem to be setting up for more streaming games than what Sony's doing. Either way, Microsoft's carving out their own niche, and Sony doesn't seem ready to combat that. And it kind of sounds like they're scared. So we'll, try to keep them down so that way we can get caught up to what they're doing. I could totally be speculating here, but that's just what I feel.
All right, so I kind of agree with what Yul just said. Like, I don't think they're doing anything anti-competitive. I think, like I said, I think the competition makes everything better. And if Microsoft or Nintendo wasn't pushing them, not so much Nintendo, because Nintendo does their own thing, and they've even said they're not in competition. But I think if Microsoft wasn't there pushing it, like if Microsoft never released Game Pass, I don't think we'd got this revamped version of PlayStation Plus that we have. I think that's their answer. If people didn't say, Microsoft had the better online, I don't think it would have pushed Sony to improve their online. I think they would just stay content saying, okay, this is enough. So I don't see them being anti-competitive.
Can we at least all agree that they're focusing way too much on what Microsoft is doing and not enough on what they're doing, as in Sony?
100%.
I can agree with that to a point, but I think in order to run any successful business, I think you have to focus on what your competition's doing. And maybe too much, I mean, that's debatable, and I will agree with you guys. I think it may be just a little bit too much. But, I mean, we can't deny, Yield called to crying, and I don't know if I would label as crying, but I'll go with that. But the three of us cannot deny that losing Call of Duty would be a massive blow to PlayStation.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't think people buy PlayStations for Call of Duty, and I think people would still buy PlayStations without Call of Duty.
I agree.
Right. Okay, but all right. So let me ask you two this question, because I agree nobody buys a PlayStation for Call of Duty, but if Call of Duty does go exclusive to the Xbox, do you not see people saying, "Well, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 5 because I can't play Call of Duty"?
Well, yeah, I could see that. 'Cause that's just how
Some people,
are.
but not a lot.
I think it would be. I'm not gonna say it would be a majority, but I think there'd be a good portion.
Yeah, but if they're willing to make deals with Nintendo, like how bad does that make Sony? Look, it's like you got to think about Sony. It's like, well, why did you reject this deal if you're so worried about having, the security of Call of Duty on your console? If they're giving a longer deal to Nintendo, what's Microsoft not like? If this deal goes through, if Sony's giving you too many headaches, be like, okay, well, fuck you, Sony. Then we're not going to give you anything anyway. We're just going to make a deal with Nintendo, and then you can get what we have given you, and then after that, it's gone, and we'll just keep it on Nintendo. Like, I understand.
And see the flip side to that is, let's just, for argument's sake, let's say this merger does not go through. Activision Blizzard, as their own company, don't ever have to release on PlayStation ever again. Like that, it's their choice. So Sony, in a way, is biting themselves in their own ass by saying, we don't want to lose it, but even if the merger doesn't go through, it doesn't mean Activision has to release it on PlayStation. They could turn around and say, well, fuck you. You cost us $67 billion. We're just going to release it on Xbox now.
But money is also king, and for like Microsoft has all the money in the world. Activision Blizzard to a lesser degree, so they have got to answer to the people that have stock in their company. And if they are not posting profits as well as they used to, they're going to have to answer for that. So, with Microsoft...
True, but you just cost them $67 billion, so,
Yeah.
I think we did it on the show, and I don't remember exactly how many years, but, like, to recover $67 billion, I think it would take them, like, 100 years to recoup or some shit like that. I don't remember the exact number. Somebody
I just think this entire saga has been Sony overplaying what would happen if Call of Duty was not on their console, and I think it's less of they know that Microsoft's going to do it. I don't think they think that Microsoft's going to take Call of Duty. I think it's the chance that it could happen if Microsoft fully owned it, and I just feel like, yeah, you can. When a trade commission asks you about what's your opinion on this as a company within this field, I just feel like Sony's been overplaying every single time. Like they've been belly aching to the worst degree and overplaying everything. Like I don't know. I just think that I wish this merger would just go through, so we'd have to stop listening about it or hear about it and hearing Sony cry about it, and just I don't understand personally what Activision Blizzard, all the games that they have, how that would destroy every other game company. Because again, Nintendo's not, like, people can say Nintendo's not a competition, and I hate that argument because yes, they are. Nintendo's not belly aching about this at all.
Well, Nintendo themselves said they're not competition.
I disagree because I think that's stupid, because you can't play a Nintendo console and a PlayStation at the same time. So any game that they release is taking money away and time away from what you could be playing on your PlayStation or your Xbox or your PC. So yes, they are competition. Nintendo may not.
I'm not saying
they may not be going for the same audiences as the PlayStation and as Sony and Microsoft. But I'm an owner of a Switch and a PlayStation 5. If I decide to spend money on a Nintendo game and then play that game, that's taken away from what I can do on the PS5. So yes, that is competition. Like, I can't play both consoles at the same time.
I agree.
So the whole idea that we're not competition, maybe in your own eyes, maybe you feel like you've carved out another niche, or you have your own audience, but there's a lot of crossover in the audience that plays the Switch and the other consoles. So I don't like the argument that they're not the same, they're not competition, because they absolutely are.
All right, so I found an article on the FTC. This is coming from IGN, and it was updated. So let me do the original article, but this was updated back on November 24th. So this might be a little bit outdated in itself. It says the Federal Trade Commission is reportedly likely to file an antitrust lawsuit to block the $68.7 billion deal that would see Microsoft acquire Activision Blizzard. As reported on Politico, the news comes by way of, quote, 3 people with knowledge of the matter, end quote, and they stress this lawsuit is, quote, not guaranteed, end quote. The FTC's 4 commissioners haven't taken the time to vote out a complaint or even meet with the lawyers for Microsoft and Activision, but the FTC staff is reviewing the deal are, quote, skeptical of the company's arguments, end quote. As for where the deal stands, much of the heavy lifting has been completed, including depositions of Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and Activision CEO Bobby Kotick. This means a decision on a potential antitrust lawsuit could arrive as soon as December. All right, so the article goes on, but I'm just going to go back to the update. Again, this was updated on November 24th. Activision Blizzard has responded to the report from Politico, saying that any suggestion that the deal between Microsoft and Activision could lead to, quote, anti-competitive effects is completely absurd, end quote. Furthermore, Activision is ready to battle against any of these claims to ensure the deal will close. Quote, any suggestion that the transaction could lead to anti-competitive effects is completely absurd. This merger will benefit gamers and the U.S. gaming industry, especially as we face increasingly stiff competition from abroad. We are committed to continuing to work cooperatively with regulators around the globe to allow the transaction to proceed, but won't hesitate to fight or defend the transaction if required, end quote. Now, again, this could be outdated because this was, 3 weeks ago at this point. But that's the most recent article I can find right now on my phone. So, yeah. I mean, this is they said this deal is probably not going to close until like this time next year, correct?
I haven't paid. Like I said, I've been trying to shut it out, all the news as much as possible. I did see a few headlines, but I haven't been paying attention to the nitty gritty because I'm just like, can this please be over?
Yeah, that's where I'm at, Alex. I agree with you.
I'm agree with you too. But we have one more thing, just in response to Microsoft offering the deal to Nintendo. This is coming from IGN and is written by George Yang. Valve appreciates Microsoft's continued support of the Steam storefront and says a formal agreement isn't really necessary for their partnership together. Quote, we're happy that Microsoft wants to continue using Steam to reach customers with Call of Duty when their Activision acquisition closes. That was said by Valve CEO Gabe Newell in a statement to Kotaku. Microsoft has been on Steam for a very long time, and we take it as a signal they're happy with gamers' reception to that and the work we're doing. Our job is to keep building valuable partnerships, not only for Microsoft, but all Steam customers and partners. Why is this zooming in? Hold on one second, sorry. Gabe Newell also explained that Microsoft even sent a draft for a long-term community to keep Call of Duty on the Steam platform, but clarifies there was no need to do so. He says that Valve doesn't believe in requiring any partner to have a formal agreement that essentially locks them into shipping games on Steam. Newell also noted that Phil Spencer and the Xbox team have always followed through on their commitments and trust their intentions. Additionally, Newell believes Microsoft has the motivation to put Call of Duty on platforms and devices that players want to be on. So, in a way, he's coming out saying that he doesn't need the deal because he trusts that Microsoft will honor their word.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you're, back in the day, you could say that, well, of course you're going to be good to Valve because if you want to be on the PC, Steam is kind of like your main path. And while it is, there's also the Epic Game Store. So, I mean, there are different avenues where people can buy games on PC and play on PC. So, but, I mean, really the only company that's poo-pooing this is Sony, really. I mean, can anyone think of another company that's kind of down on this deal?
I mean, I think... I don't want to be the Sony apologist, but I think Sony is the one that has to step up for everybody else. I think everybody else is playing ball, and I think Microsoft is doing a lot of PR moves to get this deal through. But I think Sony is the one that needs to step up because they are Microsoft's main competition, and if they don't step up or at least join the support team that says we need to fight this, I think this whole thing's dead in the water. Yield, do you agree with that or no?
No, Oh, sorry, didn't really hear it. I was watching something.
No,
All
but I
right, so
think the question is, sure, Sony is the most direct competitor, but does Sony need to fight this fight?
I think they do.
I think they
if
don't.
I think if they're really really worried about how much they're going to lose if they lose Call of Duty, I think they need to step up to this fight. I think I speak for you too as well. I don't think they're going to lose as much as they think they're going to lose. But if Sony thinks they're going to lose that much, that they need to fight this, then they need to fight it. But I think I agree. I think I agree with all three of us agree saying that I don't think Sony should be this worried.
Well, then if they're that worried about it, then they should have put up a bigger fight or a bigger stink before Microsoft swept in and started the train rolling on this acquisition.
Well, we did have news stories saying that Sony did try to purchase them. That they didn't, but Microsoft made a bigger offer, and that's why Activision went with them.
I missed that.
Now it was never really news. It was like a sub story that after the Activision, after the merger was announced, a news story came out saying Sony did try to purchase them in the past. Now that could have been a year ago. That could have been 2 years ago. That could have been 10 years ago. We don't know, but that they didn't offer enough money, and the deal was ultimately turned down.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Sony. I don't know. I think that Sony's always overplayed its hand, and I don't think that they should be as worried as they are. But they're obviously fighting this, and I don't know. I guess if the FTC does decide to file a lawsuit, we'll understand why, and we'll get more of the reasons why. But I mean, who knows? I can't imagine that all these commissions are also at the same time taking Sony's word as gospel and just like going off of that completely.
No, there has to. I'm assuming if the FTC is doing this, there has to be something that they're seeing to say that this deal shouldn't go through, or it would make a monopoly, or whatever the FTC's rules or regulations dictate, saying that this isn't a fair deal.
I just don't know why it wouldn't be a fair deal. Because Microsoft has actually provided evidence and said and counter arguments and said this is why this is a fair deal. In all their, we're not as big in this market as Sony is. We're not as big in this market. We don't have that much of a foothold. So, I don't know. Microsoft's always been able to combat it, with good evidence and with good reason and logic. And I don't know.
Well, and to be fair, Alex, all we have is really, he said, she said at this point. The only way we're going to find out if there's any true evidence that this goes through is if it hits a court. And then, once the papers and the documents all become public. I mean, you guys remember the story about how Epic and Apple and Android were fighting, each other. And then we found out through the court documents, this is what the percentage Apple was taking, and blah, 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 blah. And, people were split there. The only way we're really going to know the real truth behind all this fighting and what Sony's trying to do and whatnot is if it hits the courts, and then these papers get made public, and then somebody goes through them and says, this is why Sony's, going against it.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not clear-headed on this because I'm so tired of hearing this, and I'm just like, just let it go through.
All right, so at this time, we're going to throw it across the pond for this week's Sophie's Trophy.
Hello again, my friends. Sid here with Sophie's Trophies. This week, guys, we are going way, way, way back with Sonic Origins. 1991, the first Sonic came out, and I remember getting a Mega Drive, or Genesis, if you're over there in America. I got it for Christmas with Sonic the Hedgehog. I couldn't get past the Labyrinth Zone for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I eventually did Labyrinth Zone and completed the game that same day. Ever since then, I have been a Sonic fan, apart from one game on this collection, which I'm not a massive fan of. I mean, it's okay, but it's not a patch on the other ones. But before I go into that, let's go into these trophies. So, we have Complete Clear. which is get all the trophies for your platinum. Then we have Welcome to Sonic the Hedgehog. Watch the opening for Sonic the Hedgehog. So each game now has an opening and closing cartoon. They are pretty good little cartoons. They're in the vein of the cartoon that was on Sonic CD when that was released. So yeah, they're not too bad. Welcome to Sonic CD. So watch the opening for Sonic CD. This is the one I don't like. I'm not a fan of Sonic CD, guys. It just doesn't feel the same to me. I know it has its fans, but it's not really for me, that one, I have to say. But one thing I didn't know is the story comes between Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. Then we have Welcome to Sonic 2. Watch the opening for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Welcome to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So watch the opening for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. So most people are aware, but some people may not be. The original Sonic 3 was split into two games. So you had Sonic 3, and then you had Sonic and Knuckles, and you could lock on the Sonic 3 cartridge to Sonic and Knuckles, and it would open up the whole game for you. And what they have done here, instead of splitting them in two, they have put them together as one big game. And then we have Beware Motobugs. Defeat 10 Motobugs in Sonic the Hedgehog. Bubbly Breath. Use air bubbles in Sonic the Hedgehog. The bane of everyone's life, I think, when we were younger, was hearing the countdown in the water levels in Sonic the Hedgehog. So use a bubble, keep Sonic alive, and you'll get that trophy. Time Traveller. Travel to the past or future in Sonic CD. So you have these signposts. They say past or future. If you get one to spin and then keep moving really fast, you will either go to the past or the future. But if you stop, it will stop sending you there. Shut down Metal Sonic. Win a race against Metal Sonic in Sonic CD. So he's one of the bosses. You have to race against him. Just make sure you win, because you can't finish the game if you don't. And you'll do that. Beware Stingers. Defeat 10 Stingers in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. These are the wasp enemies. They are quite abundant in the first couple of levels. Lucky Hedgehog. Get the jackpot in Sonic the Hedgehog 2's Casino Night Zone. So you play this game, you end up in this cage thing that spins, and you either get Robotnik or some rings, or you can get the jackpot. Just keep trying it. You'll just drop out of it, and then you can spring yourself back up to land in it, and you'll get it eventually. It shouldn't take too long. Beware Rhinobots. Defeat 10 Rhinobots in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Easy peasy with shields. Collect 3 types of shields in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. So easy enough, guys. The shields will pop up. They're like in the TVs, like you get the rings and the invincibility out of. So just collect each of those shields and you will get that trophy. Ring Collector. Collect a total of 1,000 rings. So this is cumulative, I think I said that right, over all games and all modes and everything. So just keep playing and you'll eventually get this one. Gallant Spin Dash. Defeat 30 enemies with the Spin Dash. So press down on your button or on your pad. Keep pressing one of your buttons to make Sonic spin, let go, and you will fly forward. They've added this to Sonic 1 as well, which makes it a much better game, I think. So hit 30 enemies with that and you're fine. Newbie Hero. Defeat a total of 50 enemies. Museum Time. View a premium collection item from the museum. So these are, you have to pay for them with coins. You earn coins by doing the boss rush. You earn coins by doing things in game. So all you got to do is go into the museum and use coins to pay for something, and that will get you this trophy. Very first mission clear. Clear one mission. Each of the separate games has a load of missions, and you can choose to do them or not. They're in their own separate little list. They're not in game as such, so each one starts off easy, gets harder. So just pick a mission and finish it. Knuckles the Echidna. Glide as Knuckles. Miles, Tails, per hour. Fly as Tails. So very simple there, guys. Play as each of those. Boss Rush Attempt. Try the boss rush mode from any of the titles. So each game has a boss rush mode. You can't do it till you finish the game, but if you get through the boss rush mode, you will earn coins for the museum. So just attempt one of them and you will get this trophy. Sonic the Hedgehog Mission Master. Clear 10 Sonic the Hedgehog missions with an S rank. Then we have Sonic CD Mission Master. Same again for Sonic CD. Then we have Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Mission Master. Same again. S rank 10 levels or 10 missions. And then we have Sonic 3 and Knuckles Mission Master. Same again. S rank 10 missions. But with this, guys, you can play the first mission or the easiest mission 10 times if you want and get an S rank each time, and that will unlock those trophies. To the Mirror World. Play the Mirror World. So once you've completed a game, you can have a go in Mirror Mode. Just have a go at that and you'll be fine. Movie Maniac. Unlock 6 movie collection items with coins. Sound Savant. Unlock 10 sound collection items with coins. Art Appreciator. Unlock 30 art collection items with coins. There you go, same as the other trophy, guys. Use your coins, unlock all of these things. It costs quite a bit, but if you like the games, you will earn enough coins. Everybody's Hero. Defeat a total of 200 enemies. And Supersonic. Turn into Supersonic. So, Supersonic, guys. You need to collect Chaos Emeralds in the game. I think Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles can turn you into Supersonic. So collect all the Chaos Emeralds, collect 50 rings, that'll turn you into Supersonic. Or, to make life a bit simpler, guys, just go into the debug menus and unlock Supersonic. I haven't done it yet because I'm hoping to do it legit on Sonic 3 because I quite like those bonus stages. Cleared Sonic the Hedgehog. So, there you go. Clear Sonic the Hedgehog in either Anniversary or Classic mode. So Classic mode is Sonic with lives, normal way you used to play it on your Genesis or Mega Drive. Anniversary mode is with the cartoons or the animations between levels, so the whole thing tells a bit of a story. Then we have cleared Sonic CD, so same again. Cleared Sonic 2, so same again. Cleared Sonic 3 and Knuckles, same again. And then last trophy, guys, all clear, which is clear all 4 titles. So, that is it for Sonic Origins. Personally, great collection. I paid £16 for it. It was half price. So I'm not going to complain at that. It is probably the last time I'm buying a Sonic game. Unless I buy Sonic Frontiers, but that's a different type of Sonic game. But all in all, guys, a great little collection. A good little trophy list as well. Nothing too major there. Things will happen naturally as you play the game. So that is it from me, guys. I will talk to you next week. Hope you're all okay, and keep getting those trophies. Bye.
All right, thanks, Sid, for this week's Sophie's Trophies. At this time, I'm trying to do this on my phone, so please bear with me, guys. We have some listener questions, so...
Time to check my social media, yeah.
All right, so did either one of you guys check the Facebook group?
I saw we had a couple questions, but I didn't. I saw Dupes post a question about Christmas movies, but I didn't read the question just yet.
Well, no, I'm only asking because there's a picture that relates to our first question. So, if you guys have access,
I saw it.
Okay, so Robert Workman wants to know: can this poster be a thing?
No.
Just no yield?
Yeah, just no.
Aww. Alex, what about you, sir?
Oh, we're talking about the
how
Hans Gruber stole Christmas poster. Because
I like the poster. I think it's unique, but
don't do it because that's another question.
Yeah,
I know what you're about to say. Alex, did you like the picture?
I do like the where did you get that from?
I found it online. Somebody posted it somewhere.
I do like it, but at the same time, it's based on falsehood, so I can't really. I wouldn't purchase it.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. So the next question comes from Matt G. He says, who do you think would win a fight in their prime? Mike Tyson or Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee.
Yield will go to you first.
Bruce Lee.
You have any? You want to back that up, or you just want to say
Nope.
statement? Your answer.
Just Bruce Lee.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, I think someone in general who has mastery of their feet and their fists is probably more likely to win a match. Although, I guess it depends on rules and everything and what the stipulations are. But, I mean,
If Tyson can get a hand on Bruce Lee, well, then, yeah, Tyson. But I
don't think Bruce Lee's. I don't think Tyson's touching Bruce Lee.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Tyson's going to be able to touch Bruce Lee.
But
there is always that realm of possibility, but I'm putting all my money on Bruce Lee.
That's the thing, though, is we saw the destruction that Tyson caused, and when he was the heavyweight champion, and how he just destroyed people in the ring. You can see Bruce Lee in movies and stuff, but none of us grew up with Bruce Lee doing what Bruce Lee does, so it's kind of hard to. I mean, I would put my money on Bruce Lee too, but I think part of that is just because he's such a legendary person within martial arts that you put Bruce Lee up against anybody, and Bruce Lee's gonna win in everyone's mind. Like, everyone's betting on Bruce Lee. Like, who is someone you would put against Bruce Lee and have them beat Bruce Lee in a fight? He's almost like a video game character, like a video game boss that's like cranked up to 9, like Shao Kahn in the Mortal Kombat series. Like, he is the end boss, and who's gonna beat him?
We'll never get this, but I'd actually like to see either Jackie Chan or Jet Li go against Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, though, what era of Jackie Chan? Because obviously Jackie Chan is older now, and I think that when Bruce Lee passed away, he was obviously much younger. So Bruce Lee when he was younger versus Jackie Chan now is not a fair fight.
Well, the question is who would win in their prime. So you're talking the best Jackie Chan's ever been compared to the best Bruce Lee's ever been.
We've seen Jackie Lee in stuff like, not necessarily. I mean, Rumble in the Bronx was the first movie I saw him in, but like we've seen him in stuff with like Chris Tucker, like Rush Hour, which is a very goofy movie where he is playing into the goofish nature of everything. Yes, showing off some of his fighting skills at the same time, because it's like, hey, you get the witty dialogue of Chris Tucker mixed with Jackie Chan and his martial arts skills, so it kind of melds into this big Hollywood blockbuster. But again, like, Bruce Lee is such a titanic figure in the martial arts world that I don't think anyone would pick anyone to beat him in a fight one-on-one. I just don't think. I think that he's so revered that that's going to put, whether it's true or not, everyone's going to pick him first and foremost.
I agree. All right, and our last question, which is going to be the most divisive question we have, it is broken down into 2 questions. So this is coming from Garrett. I'm going to ask the second question first. What is the worst Christmas gift you ever received? Alex, we'll start with you.
Worst Christmas gift? I mean, it's not... my parents have always done a good job providing for me, and spouses have always given me really good gifts. Especially Ashley. Ashley's been phenomenal at giving gifts. Just want to throw that out there. But I think that the most disappointed I've ever been was when the Dreamcast came out, and I asked my dad, and I'm sorry to throw my dad under the bus, but I wanted a Dreamcast, and he, instead of buying me a Dreamcast and games, got me a sleeping bag. Now, it was a really nice sleeping bag, and it was a great gift, but it was not a Dreamcast. So luckily,
is that what you wanted?
My grandmother gave me some, on my dad's side, gave me some money, and I was able to go buy a Dreamcast and NFL 2K and Soul Calibur. So I was able to go buy the Dreamcast and some games with the money my grandmother gave me. But, I mean, my dad gave me a great gift. It just wasn't what I asked for.
All right, Yield?
I'm sure there's been something that I've gotten that I wasn't thrilled about, but off the top of my head, I can't really recall. I tend not to dwell on the
negativity.
I don't want to say bad Christmas gifts because they didn't have to get you anything. So I would say the unpopular gifts of Christmas past.
And my answer is simple, but it's almost like a cop-out answer. I would say the hand-me-down clothes from my brother that I would get. That my mother, because we didn't grow up with a bunch of money, my mother would repackage my brother's clothes and give them to me as Christmas gifts, not realizing that I know that they're my brother's clothes.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a tough time of year because you want to be like, you don't want to be too ungrateful. I mean, you can be disappointed, but you don't want to be too ungrateful because there are a lot of kids out there, and your mom was just trying to give you a good Christmas, and sometimes money makes it tough. And there are kids at school who go and say that, oh, I got an iPad for Christmas, and there are other kids at school that are like, well, I didn't get anything.
I got a rock.
It's just simply because their parents can't afford to give them a Christmas that another child's parents can, and it's really shitty. So you try to be level-headed about it.
Well, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but the reason I'm saying it's the worst gift is because I would get the hand-me-down clothes, and my brother and my sister would actually get gifts. So my mother would spend the money on them, but my gift would always be hand-me-down clothes for my brother. And then, she would, one year she bought us the original NES, but, she labeled it as a gift for all three of us, but in reality it was a gift for my brother and my sister because I was too young to play.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I get your disappointment, but it's at the same time, your mom's in a tough position, and she's trying to provide for 3 kids, and it's just sometimes around the holidays, that's not an easy thing. So... I mean, I grew up very fortunate. So, like I said, I didn't have my stepmom one year. There was. Do you all remember Stretch Armstrong? There's Stretch Armstrong and his little dog Fetch Armstrong. Do you guys remember those?
I do.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
So I wanted the dog, but apparently the dog was very hard to find for that Christmas. But my stepmom went all over the place trying to find me the dog, and she eventually did. So I've been very fortunate to have really good Christmases, and that's one of the things that Ashley has done. Is she didn't always have the best Christmases, so she's tried to make sure that the boys have really good Christmases, and she's always done the best to put as much as she can to those. So I'm just, I know you're not trying to do it tricky, but I'm also trying to, understand where your mom's come from, and she's just trying. She's trying. And I'm not saying you're being a jerk by doing that. I'm trying to, it's just a tough time of the year for people when money isn't the easiest thing to come by.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful because now, as I'm older, I understand. But at the time, when you're 5, 6 years old, it's pretty shitty seeing your brother and sister get these amazing gifts and you're getting clothes.
No, I definitely get it, and maybe kind of the silver lining in that is it drove you to give your own daughter a better Christmas. So
it did. All right, so now this is the decisive part of Garrett's question. What are your top 3 Christmas movies? Do you guys go on one at a time, or you just want to name all 3 at one time?
I mean, we can go one at a time, but also I thought you were going to ask me if Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I was waiting for that question.
Well, I'll start us off by saying one of my favorite Christmas movies is Die Hard.
It's not a Christmas movie.
I know that Yield doesn't agree.
I will die on that hill.
Yield, what is one of your top 3 Christmas movies?
Do they have to be movie or can they be a TV and animation?
Because you're going to say Charlie Brown's Christmas, aren't you?
Well, that will be one of mine, yes.
How about we say we give 3 Christmas movies and then a Christmas special? We'll add in 1 or 2 Christmas television specials. How about that?
Okay. All right. So 3 movies and 1 or 2 television specials. Okay. So movie, I will go White Christmas.
All right, Alex.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
All right. Before I get my second one, I think I told the story on the show before, but Yield, you just said White Christmas.
Yes.
That makes me think of Miracle on 34th Street and It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
I grew up not knowing those movies were in black and white.
Really?
Because I'm colorblind.
Oh, I got you.
So those movies were always in color to me. Growing up, I did not know they were in black and white until one year they upgraded them and it's like, oh, now in color. And I went, what do you mean now in color? It's been in color the whole damn time. And also at that point of when I found out the information, I didn't know I was colorblind because I didn't find out I was colorblind until I was 17 and going into the Army. And they're like, yeah, you're colorblind. I'm like, really? They go, yeah. I said, does that disqualify me from the Army? They said, no. You're just never going to fly a plane. You're never going to be a bomb disposal technician. It's a 10-4. All right, my second movie, Home Alone.
I'd argue that, too.
That's a Christmas movie.
It's a comedy based around Christmas, but I'm not willing to die on that hill as much.
All right, so that brings me to another question that I saw on TikTok that it made me laugh, but I'm going to ask you guys. In a straight-up fight, who wins, Predator or Kevin from Home Alone?
Predator.
Yeah, unless Kevin has access to mud at his house and covers himself in mud. Even then, like his little traps, his rinky-dink traps that hit Marv and Harry aren't going to do anything to the Predator.
All right. The TikTok went along after he asked the question. The guy getting asked the question goes, how much time does Kevin have to prepare? And he says 24 hours. He goes, oh, the Predator's fucked. I just thought that was funny. All right. Yield, your second movie. And they don't have to necessarily be in order. Like, you don't have to say, like...
I know. I just don't watch it a lot. I'll go the Santa Claus.
With Tim Allen?
Yeah, the Tim Allen one.
Any particular one? Because I think there were three of them, right?
Yeah, there's three of them, and I think now they're doing a Disney Plus series. I'll go with the first one.
They are. All right. Alex, your second movie.
Bad Santa.
Okay. And my last answer, see, I was going to do the joke answer and say Lethal Weapon, but I'm going to have to say It's a Wonderful Life. All right, Yield.
Christmas Vacation.
Okay. And Alex, your last movie.
I'm surprised it took that long for that one to come up. No, I love Christmas Vacation. I love Home Alone, but I think I'm going to have to be very, very basic and say that I expect, I can do without seeing those movies during the holiday season, but what I can't go without is not seeing A Christmas Story through the holiday season because it's so ingrained in my holiday experience.
That movie.
Because when we were opening gifts at my dad's house, my dad always had that 24-hour marathon playing, and like, even at my mom's house, we always had it on. So it became the joke where one year for Christmas, my mom gave me the VHS and the DVD of A Christmas Story so I could watch it anytime I wanted. Of course, I really wanted to watch it during the season, so I never really watched them outside of it. But I've got ornaments on the tree for it. So, yeah, Christmas Story. As basic of an answer it is, I got to go with that. And I definitely want to see the HBO special, A Christmas Story Christmas or something like that. The new, with the original actor who played Ralphie. Brand new, so kind of, I guess, a sequel to that out on HBO this year, so I definitely want to watch that as well.
I fucking hate that movie.
I love that movie. Before we move on...
Why are you laughing, Yield?
Because I agree with you.
Thank you, okay. I fucking hate that movie. Go ahead, Alex, I'm sorry.
I was going to see, what is, I agree with Yield that Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, but Yield, what is your reasoning for that?
I don't know. I'd never cared for the movie. I've sat through and I've watched it before and I've been like, I don't get the fascination behind this movie. It never clicked with me. And everybody loves it so much, so I guess I'm just the guy that'll sit here and go, no. I mean, I recognize it as a Christmas movie. Like I said, it just never clicked with me.
That movie just fucking irritates the hell out of me. I there's no particular reason why. Anytime it's on, it's like I can't get it off my TV fast enough. All right. All right. So before we move on, I was gonna say before we move on, some honorable mentions. Yield, you mentioned you wanted to mention a couple specials.
Yes. Well, of course, Charlie Brown Christmas.
That's it. Just that one.
Well, okay. You want me to do two? Okay. And then my other one would be Prep and Landing.
Prep and Landing?
Prep and Landing. Landing.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
It came out 10 years ago. It was an ABC special. It was a new ABC special.
Okay.
You got Disney Plus.
I'll
It's
have
on
to-
Disney Plus. Look it up. They've got 2 now, but the first one is by far the better one. They're really
right.
they're cool.
Send me a message with the name so I'll look it up. Alex,
right.
what are your honorable mentions?
So, I mean, honorable mentions. I already talked about Home Alone, and I talked about also liking Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I do like Elf. I saw Elf for the first time last year, and I did enjoy Elf. That's a very good one. What's the Jingle All the Way? That's another really good one that I watched for the first time last year. But as far as Christmas TV specials, I'm going to have to say the one that I love the most is the Garfield Christmas special. It's like 30 minutes long, or maybe even shorter. It's not long at all, but it's my favorite one because I grew up watching it and I love Garfield. And yeah, and I will say that Yield said that he did agree that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which I thought that he wouldn't agree with, that he was saying that Die Hard wasn't a Christmas movie.
No. I agree that it's not a Christmas movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Because my thing is, it's a movie set during Christmas, which is different from a Christmas movie.
There you go. Thank you, Alex. It's an
okay, I just want to make sure that we were on the same page there, because I had pegged you wrong.
To me, it's an action movie that's, like you said, that it's set during Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie. We're just trying to say that, so that way it makes it seem cool. Or cooler. Just like people saying Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie. No, that is another action movie that just takes place during Christmas.
All right, well, would agree to disagree on this one? Because
yes, we will.
Because we're never going to see eye to eye
so
on
wait,
that.
Tricky,
All right.
this is one hill you're not willing to die on here, because I feel like you would have more people. It's just, like, you wouldn't die alone on this hill, because I think this is a very split argument. I think that you got a lot of people that would agree with you that it is a Christmas movie, and this is the one you're not willing to take up.
I just in the interest of time, because we have to go through all the Game Awards. So we're going to move on to our topic of the week, which is the Game Awards. We can have this fight probably on another show before Christmas. All right, so I'm scrolling to the bottom because I always like to go from the bottom to the top. We're skipping all esports because none of us give a shit about esports. All right, so going through this as fast as I can. If you guys want to discuss any particular winner, or you want to agree, disagree, or have anything that you're passionate about saying, please just stop me. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep moving. Best multiplayer. Your nominees were Modern Warfare 2, Multiverses, Overwatch 2, Splatoon 3, and Shredder's Revenge. Your winner was Splatoon 3. Best family game. Your nominees were Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Nintendo Switch Sports, Splatoon 3. Your winner was Kirby. Best fighting game. Your nominees were DNF Duel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, The King of Fighters 15, Multiverses, and Sifu. Your winner was Multiverses. Best RPG. Your nominees were Elden Ring, Live Alive, Pokemon Legends. Say that word, Alex.
Arceus.
Thank you. Triangle Strategy and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Your winner was Elden Ring.
I guess
Best
with these
action
awards, I don't really have an argument against any of the games that won, but I'm just disappointed that Horizon didn't win a single award, and neither did Shredder's Revenge. I just feel like, I just wish that those games had won something.
Okay, those are final thoughts. Let's get to the winners here first.
All right, whatever.
Best action adventure game. Your nominees were A Plague Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Tunic. Your winner was God of War Ragnarok. Best action game. Your nominees were Bayonetta 3, Modern Warfare 2, Neon White, Sifu, and Shredder's Revenge. Your winner was Bayonetta 3. Innovation and accessibility. Your nominees were As Dusk Falls, God of War Ragnarok, Return to Monkey Island, Last of Us Part 1, and The Quarry, and your winner was Ragnarok. Best VR game, Moss 2 won, which that surprised me a little bit. I thought Among Us VR would have won that. I'm going to skip over Best Community, Best Mobile, Best Debut Indie Game. Your nominees were Neon White, Norco, Stray, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors. Your winner was Stray. Stray also won for Best Indie Game. Best Ongoing Game, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV Online, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. And in a shocker, Final Fantasy XIV won. Best performance. Your nominees were Ashley Birch for Horizon, Charlotte McBurney for A Plague Tale, Christopher Judge for God of War Ragnarok, Manning Gage for Immortality, and Sonny Soljic for Ragnarok. And your winner was Christopher Judge. I was really happy he won that. Best audio design. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West, and your winner was Ragnarok. Best score or music, Ragnarok won that. Best art direction, your nominees were Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Scorn, and Stray. Elden Ring won that. Best narrative was Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, Ragnarok, Forbidden West, and Immortality. Ragnarok won. Best game direction, your nominees were Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, and Stray. Your winner was Elden Ring. And your game of the year was Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And your winner was Elden Ring. Anything that surprises you, gentlemen?
That Horizon didn't win anything.
Yeah, I mean that's one obviously was a bitter pill for me to swallow because it was, the Golden Joysticks at one game storytelling of the best storytelling of the year, which I definitely think it deserved. And I think I've said this before. I think there's a lot of things that it does better than God of War Ragnarok. I'm disappointed to see that Shredder's Revenge didn't win anything, despite how beloved that game was and how fun it was as well. I feel like it was well set up to take home something. So those are my two biggest disappointments. Like I don't, look at any of the winners and be like, man, that game didn't deserve to win. I just wish that these particularly two games that I thought were two of my favorite games of the year would have gotten some recognition. Yeah, they're recognized because they're nominees, but I wish they would have taken something home because those teams kind of really deserved it. I was glad to see Stray took home some awards, at least two, because I think that game deserved it and that team deserves it well. And kudos to Annapurna Interactive, the publisher, for getting behind a project like that. As far as God of War goes, like I said, I enjoyed most of that game. Some was a little bit of a disappointment, but coming off, it definitely finished strong because after the main story quest and stuff you get to do, as the world opens up even more. Like I think that the after game stuff is a lot of fun, and it furthers the stories of some characters, and it may just be like a little thing, but you'll see characters in the world after the main story of Ragnarok has happened, and it's like, oh man, that's how they ended up, or that's where they're heading. That's really cool. So it's all these little things that they put in the game after the story that you can find that are nice little things to pick up on after Ragnarok. So they definitely finished strong. So I think that God of War won the most awards on the night. So even if it didn't win Game of the Year, it still has bragging rights over Elden Ring, where they can say, hey, you guys won Game of the Year, but we won literally all these other things. So that should make Sony Santa Monica feel good, and they definitely got a lot of recognition. And I saw the PlayStation account on Facebook congratulated Elden Ring right away for their win, which benefits Sony as well, because Sony obviously has a stake in From Software, so that's just going to help Sony bring in more money for Sony. So, but a little disappointed that some games didn't get recognized as much as I think they should, but overall it seemed like every game that won deserved to win. So there was a lot of competition in a lot of different categories, not just Game of the Year.
All right, not to sound salty or anything, because I'm really not salty, because I knew Elden Ring was a strong competition. But as you pointed out, Ragnarok brought home the most awards. Don't you think that's a little unbalanced that the game that won the most awards ultimately did not win Game of the Year? Doesn't that seem a little off to you? Yield, I'll ask you first.
No, I'm just finally actually glad that a game that had so much hype behind it that came out earlier in the year still won Game of the Year, because a lot of times everybody goes for the new hotness and not the one that it seemed unanimously everybody was hot for. So normally yes, you're right. If you sweep all these other categories, then you are declared the Game of the Year.
Well, I mean, my argument is that if you won X amount of awards, for this or for that, I mean, ultimately, to me, that's saying if you win Best Narrative or you win Best Audio Design, Best Performance or whatever it is, if you win all those awards, that to me is saying that was the best overall package.
Oh, I won't disagree with your argument, because it is hard to to go against that, especially if they went up against Elden Ring and all those other categories.
Right. All right, Alex, your view?
I get where you're coming from because I definitely had that same thought. But I don't know, maybe it was just the entire... I mean, one of the arguments that have heard for Elden Ring is that you talk to people, and there are people that are on, like, their 10th plus playthrough of Elden Ring because they love that game so much. And people, instead of playing new games, are opting to go back and play Elden Ring just because of how much they enjoy that game. It's not the same for Ragnarok, as I think that you go through Ragnarok once, you finish up everything after the main quest, and you're done. You're not going to go back and play God of War or Ragnarok again. So I think that the amount of time that people spent playing Elden Ring is something to be said, whereas God of War, you're going to go through once, and then you'll move on to something else. And that's not a knock on God of War. That's just the way that most games go, and it's a little different for Elden Ring this year. And plus, they're two different games, two different categories, RPG, action-adventure, like, I don't know, maybe they kind of rationalize it that way, where it's like two different games from two different categories, so even if God of War wins, best performance, that's not necessarily like what made Elden Ring a great game, or not necessarily a component of a game like Elden Ring. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they just went purely on gameplay, the best game, and it was purely gameplay, and it was Elden Ring. Because I've heard people say that story in Elden Ring isn't nearly as strong as God of War, but maybe just the gameplay was better overall. I don't know. But I do understand where you're coming from. I can be like, well, I kind of see that, but it's not how the votes were cast. They didn't fall that way.
All right, so the main part of why I watch the Game Awards is for the new announcements, and we're going to cover those real quick. This is coming from IGN and written by Adam Bankhurst. It says, everything announced at the Game Awards. I'm just going to go down the list. Final Fantasy 16 got a new trailer and revealed a June 2023 release date. It's coming on June 22nd. In the trailer, we got the look at the summon battle system and the latest iteration of Ifrit, which I know people pronounce differently, but that's how I pronounce it. The next thing we have is From Software revealed Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. We don't know anything much about this game other than this trailer, but it seems like From Software is moving away from the Souls game, at least for a little bit.
That, or maybe they've got enough funding behind them where they could hire up and have two teams.
Well, yes, but I mean everything. I could be wrong, but haven't we? Everything we've gotten from Software has been a Souls game of some sort.
I think they've done more than that, but I think that maybe that's just more recently what they've been focused on.
All right. The next thing we have is Hades 2 was announced with a gameplay trailer. It was Supergiant Games made it, and you're going to be able to get early access in 2023. Ken Levine revealed his next game, Judas. Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock, has finally revealed its most-anticipated game, Judas. Details are scarce, but it looks to be a narrative-driven, single-player, first-person shooter that definitely gives off some BioShock in space vibes. Quote, why can't I say this word? Okay, a decaying ship, that's not the word.
Disintegrating.
Thank you. A desperate, I can't speak sometimes. A desperate escape plan. The official press release shares, you are the mysterious and troubled Judas. Your only hope for survival is to make it back or break alliances with your worst enemies. Okay, that didn't make sense to me. Will you work together to fix what you broke, or will you leave it all to burn?
Look, I'm a BioShock fan. I've played all 3 BioShocks. All you need to know is this game looks a lot like a BioShock game, so that'll probably get more than enough people interested in it.
Death Stranding 2 has officially been announced. Today, Kojima stopped by the Game Awards to reveal that Death Stranding is officially on its way. We got an extended look at the sequel, and we got a glimpse of Fragile and an older Sam Bridges and more. We also got a report that Kojima rewrote Death Stranding after COVID-19 pandemic, saying that he didn't want to predict the future anymore. Idris Elba joined Cyberpunk 2077. The Phantom Liberty new gameplay trailer was revealed. We got a Jedi Survivor trailer, which confirms a March release. The Game Awards gave us a brand new gameplay trailer that shows off more of Cal's next adventure. This New story picks up 5 years after the original, and Kedis has become a stronger, more powerful Jedi Knight. Unfortunately, the Empire has gotten stronger as well. I'm going to pause here because I know all three of us want to say something about Star Wars Survivor. Yield, we'll start with you, sir.
I'm just kind of disappointed that while I know the story will be good because the first one was good, they're unoriginal with their character in the sense of his lightsaber looks and his Force abilities. You know,
okay.
I made the comment in our text group that in the first game he had a dual lightsaber like Maul, and then he was able. The only difference was he was able to switch it from a dual to two singles. But still, you've got Maul's combat style to Ahsoka's combat style. And then in this one, at the end of the trailer, he does I say the broadsword. I don't know the exact name of it. But he does the broadsword lightsaber like Kylo Ren. And it's like, come on, really? Can't somebody who's got a unique lightsaber keep it? And then as for his Force abilities, he freezes laser bolts in the air like Kylo Ren did. And it just, to me, then when you do this and where it happens in the timeline, then you cheapen it, to me, you cheapen it when it actually originally debuted in the timeline. So I feel maybe they're trying to pay homage to it, but I just feel that it just cheapens everybody else's originality.
All right, Alex, your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, the couple things I want to see more out of this game, like, I do want to see fast travel points. Like, the meditation points should be fast travel points. And I think Homer had mentioned some of that previously on the Trophy Roast Facebook page. I definitely agree with it, having played through that game, and had the same thought myself, though. But I think that Homer is the first one to put it out there into the atmosphere. Also, I want to see it feel like a Star Wars game. There were elements of that game or planets on that game that didn't feel like a Star Wars game, and I want them to get away from the tomb raiding. Don't do that anymore. You're making a Star Wars game, make it feel like a Star Wars game. But I have to, I understand Yield's point of view because it feels like, Cal Kestis, and they did a great job with character development, and they did a good job with Cal Kestis, but
absolutely,
when you, instead of making him his own individual character, when you make him come across as just like, oh, a student of this person or a student of that, or they're just taking all these pieces of all these popular Jedis or Sith and putting him on Cal Kestis as kind of like an overlay, it makes him feel like not as much of an original character, and they did such a good job with their character development in the first game that I think that the characters do deserve better. So I do agree with Yield on that. But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order was a really good game. Hopefully Survivor is as good or if not a better of a game. I just hope that they take like lessons they learned from the first game, and it's Respawn, so they're pros at making games. But I hope that they take what they learned and criticisms from the first game and implement it into this new one. Because it only should get better. Like, this should be a better game coming up. Movie sequels aren't always as good as their predecessor, but video game sequels should always be better.
And the only thing I'm going to say is I'm hyped for this. The only thing I want to give feedback is I hope they improved that freaking map. That map sucked.
Like Alex and Homer said, if they implement a fast travel system, the map wouldn't be so bad. I enjoyed the fact that the maps were big, and I did kind of enjoy the fact that they had areas of the map locked off until you got stronger or unlocked Force abilities or whatever. But, and I really digged how they kept it in the hologram, like all the holo communications in Star Wars. I liked that. It felt genuine. But trying to navigate the map and not being able to rotate it or anything made that map system so horrible.
It did. All right, moving on. The next thing announced was Diablo 4 is arriving in June of 23. A public beta will take place sometime before then. Next thing we have is Street Fighter 6 will fight its way on June 2nd of 23. This also came alongside a new trailer that featured DJ, Manon, Marissa, JP, and more. I'm gonna skip that one. We're gonna do that one last because I think that's the biggest news that was announced. We got a Super Mario Brothers movie clip revealing Mario's introduction to pipe travel. Tekken 8 got a trailer, and we got a confirm of a new character, Jin's mother, Jun Kazama, after she apparently suddenly died in Tekken 2. We've already talked about the Horizon Forbidden West DLC. Crash Team Rumble is a new 4v4 multiplayer game coming in 2023. It will task players with leading their squad to victory as they slide, mash, bump, and bash their team to be the furthest to the bank, the most wampum fruit in their drop-off zone, while simultaneously defending the opponent's team's drop zone. Do either one of you guys want to talk about that?
I watched the trailer for that game, and I still don't understand what the gameplay is all about. So, and of course, I'm kind of not. I don't want to give any of my money to Activision right now because obviously the culture they have at their company. So I don't want to support them in any way. And honestly, I heard about this game. It's like, okay, like I love Crash, and let's see what this is about. I don't know. I don't know anything like based on what the game trailer was. Like it was just a whole lot of like sizzle. There wasn't a lot of this is what this game is, and this is how it's going to play. And so I think I'm safe for now in not pledging any money to Activision because this game just looked like a whole lot of mess. I don't know. I don't understand the gameplay, so until I learn more about it, I can't really get excited for it.
Yo, do you have anything to say about this?
No, I didn't even watch the gameplay trailer because I was just kind of like, nah, I don't care.
Okay. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 gameplay was revealed. The game is going to be released on the PS5, the Xbox Series, and the PC in 23. Celeste creators' next game, Earthblade, gets a first look trailer. The game is going to be released in 2024. Bayonetta Origins is coming out. It's going to be a spin-off set in the franchise universe. Will arrive on March 17th of 23. Hellboy is getting a stylish video game adaptation. It will be available on the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. The game is said to be a roguelike action-adventure with an original story. Crime Boss Rock K City announced with cast including Chuck Norris, Danny Trejo, and Vanilla Ice. This is coming from 505 Games. The game looks to be a stealth action first-person shooter that tasks players with becoming leaders of a criminal underworld in a fictional version of 90s Florida. Lords of the Fallen first gameplay was revealed for a Souls-like reboot. The Last of Us Part 1 is coming to the PC in March. We got a Returnal also announced for the PC. Genshin Impact apparently won the Player's Voice and Game Award. We got a Baldur's Gate 3 release date. It's going to be August 23. The Forspoken demo is now available on the PlayStation Network. I already talked about that. Transformers Reactivate is an online action game developed by Splash Damage. Banishers Ghost of New Eden was announced. You got some single-player Magic first-person shooter Immortals of Avrium revealed. Gearbox announced Remnant 2 for 2023. Blue Protocol will be released in North America courtesy of Amazon Games. We got a surreal platformer After Us announced at the Game Awards. This is coming from Private Division. Has announced a new game from Piccolo Studio called After Us. It's a game set on a post-human Earth where players become Gaia, the spirit of life. Throughout the game, players will need to salvage the souls of extinct animals and revive them after learning of their fate. We got a trailer for Replaced, which is a retro-futuristic platformer. Has received a brand new trailer at the Game Awards and revealed more of the game set in a dark alternative 1980s America that will take players to a trailer park, a rundown city, a lab, and more. Vampire Survivors, which was one of the nominees for indie game, is now available on mobile. Dead Cell is getting some Return to Castlevania DLC. That's arriving next year. The DLC will add new enemies, 14 weapons, 2 new biomes, a new storyline, 3 bosses, and 20 outfits, and 50 original or reimagined Castlevania musical tracks. Valiant Hearts is coming home to the mobile device soon. Colossal Cave, got a trailer for that. Wild Hearts, we got a trailer for that. We're getting more raids in Modern Warfare 2. Fire Emblem Engage got a DLC trailer. Dune Awakening got an in-engine trailer. Destiny 2 Lightfall, we got a trailer for that. Among Us has a new mode called Hide and Seek. We got a trailer for Horizon Call of the Mountain. All right, so now I have to scroll back up to what I skipped.
A pretty lackluster announcements of new games.
All right, so the story I left for last, alongside reveal and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, will be released on May 26, 2023. The Game Awards took a moment to pay tribute to the late Kevin Conroy, who has been confirmed to be the voice of Batman one last time in the upcoming Rocksteady title. So apparently Kevin Conroy did all of his voiceovers for the game before he passed away, which I thought was very cool to find out, that we're going to get Kevin Conroy as Batman one more time.
Yeah, I told my wife, I said that this was a game that I was kind of like, still kind of waiting on to see if I really wanted to get it or not. And then now they dropped that it's Kevin Conroy's last game, and I'm like, now I feel like I got to buy it, even if I don't really care for it.
Alex, you covered Kevin Conroy passing on the last show. Actually, on 549. Sorry, not last show. I mean, obviously, me and Yield weren't there for that. Obviously, losing Kevin Conroy is a big blow to everybody that's been in the comic book world and the animated world and whatnot. It's really cool to find out that he's got one more turn as Batman coming up.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody you can't replace because he is Batman, and Batman will always feel different when Kevin Conroy is not the person behind the mask, so to speak. I think that as far as game announcement, I think maybe Hades 2 was the biggest game announcement because that came out of left field, or at least for me. Like, I know people love that game. Oh,
I will agree with that.
I think people love the first game, and I think that a second game, like Supergiant, I don't know, I don't think they've done too many sequels to their games that they've made. But the fact that, they're like Hades 2, like I know that there are a lot of people that they're very excited about it. So Ashley's oldest, he was going nuts in his room. We couldn't figure out what was going on. But he was hooting and hollering. He was so happy that they announced a sequel. So I think that even people who are in that world or tapped into it didn't see that coming. So biggest game wise, but I think the biggest announcement, at least culturally, is the fact that Kevin Conroy will voice Batman or is going to be in at least one other project as Batman. And that being Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So honestly, it doesn't make me want to play the game anymore. No, but I am happy that people will get Kevin Conroy as Batman at least one more time. So pop culture wise, yeah, I think that was the biggest announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a chance to say it on the show, and Yield, I'll give you a chance to speak if you want to. But Kevin Conroy has always been Batman to me. Like, when people ask you who's your Batman and whatnot, and there's always a debate whether it's Christian Bale or it's Ben Affleck or it's Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was my favorite live action Batman, but Kevin Conroy, above all else, has always been my Batman.
Well, I would say because he could do both Bruce Wayne and Batman. But anyway, sorry, finish your thought.
Well, I mean, I was finishing up. It's just I was just saying, like, Kevin Conroy is. When I think of Batman, he's the voice and the image I picture, and it's really it's really touching to know that we're gonna get him one more time. So I'll give it the floor to you.
So I agree with Tricky. To me, hands down, Kevin Conroy is Batman. But I always start every time I get into one of these debates, or I happen to walk into one of these debates, where somebody goes, "Who's your favorite Batman?" The first question I always throw back at them. Go, well, what are you asking? Are you asking for film Batman? Are you asking for animated Batman? Or are you asking for Batman in general? Because, yes, there is a difference. But, no, to what Tricky said, to me, Kevin Conroy is Batman. because he could do Bruce Wayne and he could do Batman. So, which is, I mean, I'm going to say easier, but that's not necessarily the truth. But it's easier to do it in voice than it is in person. But I did see where he did get to play, I think it was The Flash, where he actually played a future Bruce Wayne. So,
Yeah, on the Flash TV show, yes.
Yeah, which I did not know that. So that was cool to see that and know that. But anyway, yeah, Kevin Conroy is my Batman.
I also heard he did a cameo in the upcoming Flash movie, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I guess we'll find out.
Well, if the movie ever comes out, because everything going on with the actor, they might scrap that movie. All right, so final thoughts. I know you guys didn't watch the Game Awards, and even when I mentioned I was going to be watching, you're like, why?
Well, I mean, yeah, why?
I don't watch it for the awards. I watch it for the trailers and the reveals.
Yeah, but that's the thing is I kept track of who was winning on my phone as we were like watching, I think, an episode of Wednesday on Netflix. And then for the reveals, like I could just go back like I did on IGN and look at the trailers and stuff that I wanted to. So I understand why the Game Awards are necessary, but at the same time, it's not something I actually want to sit or feel like is necessary for me to sit in live action or like live time and watch it in real time, I should say.
To me, there's not enough. I mean, there were a lot of reveals, but there's not enough of the oh my god reveals that are happening. Like
it's not like an E3.
No, it's not like an E3, although it's trying to be. The Star Wars trailer would have been very interesting to me, but that got dropped or hinted at 2 days before the Game Awards. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know that's coming out, so yeah, that's why I was like, well, and like Alex, since there's not enough of the E3, I use it in quotations, E3 feel for the, I want to be there to see the oh my god moment, and there's not a lot of those. I can just wait for IGN or someone else to post, hey, here's what all was revealed, and I can scroll through and go, nope. Oh, okay, interesting. Watch. Okay, nope. So
the only counter argument, because I agree with you both. Like you could watch those after the show. The only thing that I will say is a counter argument to that philosophy is there may be a game that like you're scrolling through IGN for all the trailers and whatnot, and the game or the description doesn't capture you. But when you watch it live and there's no fast forward option or skip button, you may watch a trailer and go, you know what, this actually does look pretty good.
I will not disagree with that.
So, the way you guys do it, you have the potential to miss out on an announcement, but I totally understand where you guys go. It's like, why am I going to sit through 3 hours of this when I could just go watch a 2-minute trailer on IGN for the game that looks good to me? So 2 things happened at the Game Awards. I know you guys didn't watch it. One, Al Pacino made an appearance to give away the award for Best Performance. And at the end, after Elden Ring won Game of the Year, somebody on stage walked up with the rest of the developers and whatnot, stood in the background, and after everybody gave their acceptance speeches, walked to the microphone and dedicated the game to his reformed pastor, Bill Clinton. He was also properly arrested.
Yeah, it was as a kid, wasn't it?
I don't know. They said, from what I heard, it was a 17-year-old YouTuber. Why he got arrested or what he would be charged for, I don't particularly know. I mean, I'm sure he broke some law, but I don't know what law he broke.
Well, I don't know what law he broke. I mean, he walked up there with everybody else, unless they're checking IDs as you walk up there. He was just walking up there.
The thing that intrigues me about it is, and I don't encourage this to anybody, the thing that intrigues me about it is that he walked on stage with everybody else, and nobody on the stage recognized, hey, this dude shouldn't be here.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
So, those are the two funny things. All right, so let's wrap up the show with some shout-outs. Yield, we'll start off with you, sir.
As always, give a shout out to the Pimps in the Mountains of the Whoredom for hanging out with us, listening to us, interacting with us on either games or in the Facebook group. Shout out to Tricky and Alex for recording tonight. Shout out to my wife that made me a awesome peanut butter pie. Yeah. That's it. That'll do me.
All right, Alex.
Want to give a shout out to the Fuel to the Fire that is Trophy Horrors, the fans, the community. Thank you all for joining us this week. I know we couldn't have our Twitch stream up, Tricky being at work and not, but we appreciate everybody, no matter how they listen to the show, no matter how they spread the word of the show. Every single person is appreciated just as much as the other person. So thank you all for just being there and interacting with us and really being kind of the driving force and the growth behind our show. It wouldn't have gotten here past probably 50 episodes without everybody. But thank you all for whether you joined 10 years ago or you joined today. This is your first episode. We appreciate you all just as much. Give a shout out to Yield and to Tricky, and especially, well, I guess I'll go a little bit more into both of them because I said happy birthday to Yield. Yield's birthday was on Friday. He's a December baby because December birthdays are the best.
Yeah.
Take that, Tricky. I said, because I'm really terrible about the birthdays on Facebook, but I said happy birthday to Yield with 1 minute to go on his birthday, 11:59. I was sweating. I was like, shit, gotta type. Because I was at work and doing my overnight shift, and I saw that. I was like, oh, gotta get this in there. And luckily I got in under the 12-minute mark. But happy birthday to Yield on Friday. And then give a shout out to Tricky because this week is also my birthday week. I'm turning 38 on Wednesday, so by the time the show comes out, I will be celebrating my birthday. But Tricky opted. I told Tricky that if we weren't going to record this week, I didn't want to have to edit this week because it's my birthday week. So Tricky very graciously accepted the editing duty. So thank you, Tricky, for editing for me this week. And then last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my awesome, loving girlfriend, Ashley, who has tempted me with presents because she said she's already got my birthday gifts, and she's actually offered me the chance to open up one of them now. I guess she's too super proud of it. She wants to see my exclamation, how I react to it. So she's been trying to get me to open up one of my birthday gifts early. But
hold out.
But I'm like, you know what? No, we're doing this classic style. I'm doing it on my birthday.
There you go.
That's when I'm opening it. So I'm sure she got me. She's always really thoughtful and really good at giving gifts. So like 1 year, like I'm big into Pokemon Go. So like there's these little specific gift boxes they have in Pokemon Go. Like you can you spin a stop and you can get a gift to send to a friend, and they can open those up and get little items like Pokeballs and stuff, every day. She actually built a replica of the Pokemon Go gift boxes for me to open up 1 year on my birthday. So she's always thoughtful with that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see what she got me for this birthday. The not necessarily a landmark, but my 38th birthday. So that's gonna be all for me.
I know what you got you. I know what you got you.
She didn't go through you again, did she?
No, she didn't go through me, but she told me what she got you.
So she can't get me to open them up early, so she's just telling everybody?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
if that makes you feel any better, I don't know.
I'll tell you, let me see if I can find the message real quick. She sent me a picture of it, too.
No, because she was texting me earlier, and her youngest son is sitting there asking, like, his older brother, it's like, hey, do you want this for Christmas? Knowing full well that that's what he got. So it's kind of like, I'm sure that Ashley's already annoyed with him, so I'm sure that if he gave me a hint or anything like that before I opened it and ruined the surprise, she would probably fly to New York and, Tanya Harding you.
She told me on November 28th what she got you. Sent me a picture.
Well, then if it must be something PlayStation related, if it's if she told you.
No, because we also got the comment about how you never buy me a Christmas gift, and you said because she flirts better.
Because what?
Because she flirts better with you.
Wait, hold on. I never buy who a Christmas gift?
Me.
Why am I going to buy you a Christmas gift, Tricky Mick?
Because I buy you a Christmas gift every year.
What did you buy me? What do you buy me?
There have been a couple of years.
Okay, with the exception of a couple of years, I buy you and Yield the same Christmas gift every year.
Is it PlayStation
That's
Plus,
not-
PlayStation PSN cards?
That's not entirely.
Yes.
That's not entirely true either.
What?
Because one year you got me Wildlands.
And I didn't get you a gift as well?
Well, I don't know what you got Alex, but you got Alex a game.
I
so
got
see-
you both games for your birthdays, and then I gave you PSN cards for Christmas.
Yeah.
And this year, you're both getting PlayStation Premium for a year.
Oh, we are?
Yes, you are.
Oh, well.
So you
Cat's
so
out
you
of
can
the
play
bag.
Siphon. Well, this way you can play Siphon Filter, and Alex can play Spider-Man.
Let me ask you a question.
Tell
How they doing with the PS1 games on the service?
you what, man, some of those controllers are like for Siphon Filter. Whew. How I ever made it
Yeah,
through that game. How'd I make it through that game?
It's rough.
It is rough.
I don't know the PS1 games because I really haven't been looking lately, but I know they are adding new ones every day, and I know they're getting ready to add PSP games as well.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to try out premium Tricky. Why'd you have to ruin the surprise?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of hinted at it last week on the last show when I said maybe you guys will get it for Christmas.
Well, obviously, Yield and I didn't pick up on that because Yield's like, you did?
Yeah.
You guys don't remember me saying maybe you'll get it for Christmas?
Oh, I'm sure you did, but a lot of people tell me that anymore. I just throw that to me that's a throwaway comment.
I want to give a shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to Alex and Yield for being oblivious to my hit on the last show. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Rick for tabulating who won the predictions. I honestly thought I was going to lose, but I wound up winning. So that's cool. Keeps my prediction competition streak alive. Hopefully, if E3 comes back this year, we can do another competition and Yield can try to reclaim his trophy, his prize.
I've never lost it.
You've lost the last 3 years to me.
I don't remember.
You know, you are getting old, Yield.
I am getting old.
Shout out to all the listeners. Thank you very much. Shout out to Sweet Mama D. Please go check the Patreon. For $1, you can get all of our Patreon shows. As I said, we had the Game Awards prediction show. We also have an upcoming spoiler cast on God of War. We're trying to get more shows like that going. Check out the merch store. Anything bought from now to the end of the year will be any proceeds will be donated to Extra Life. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.